We've come a long way from a marriage that was full of fear and bad habits and stuck in cycles to a marriage now that's full of love and peace and joy.
So today, we would love to introduce you to our channel by telling you a little bit of our story in hopes that it will help you with yours.
So we're here, episode number 1, numero uno. Wow, I'm gonna embarrass your entire heritage, your whole family.
Ako taco.
That's okay. Episode number 1. We're finally here. This is the podcast we've been waiting to do something related to helping other people with marriage, sharing our story and about what we've experienced. And we've had a few interactions with friends over the years that have been able to kind of give insights of things we've learned, things that have helped us to help them. But this is awesome. This is exciting. So first thing we really wanted to kind of share was that our faith is going to be our main filter for the things that we share on this podcast, right? Because literally that song by Israel, Jesus at the Center, is the whole thing. And we don't do it perfectly.
Right.
But without Jesus, we wouldn't be where we are.
That's right. Right? Yeah.
Is there any thoughts that you have on that?
No, I agree with what you're saying. I feel like it's truly, when you say it's the whole thing, it's the whole thing. It's the whole reason why we went from a lot of the darkness that we walked through to being in the light now and doing marriage the way that I think it was supposed to have been done the entire time. And so our values and our principles and just even the things that we do now, the way that we do things now, is all really based on what honors the Lord. And I feel like we owe him that, right, for bringing us through. And so, yeah, I think that's definitely just most important and the first thing we wanted you guys to know.
When you said that about light, it just reminded me of one of my favorite verses that talks about he brought us from the domain of darkness into his marvelous light.
Yeah.
I think it's in Colossians. That's just such a cool image,
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was the first thing we wanted to share. What else would we like to share?
Just our story. So we've been married for 8 years. In June, 8 years. And in the spirit of transparency, which is how we really want to guide this entire podcast as well, the first 5 were super, super difficult. I think that, and part of the name as well of it being the No Fear Marriage Podcast, is because fear really dominated a lot of our story for the first 5 years. We were really not walking in the truth of who God called you to be and who God called me to be in marriage for the first 5 years. And so we dealt with just a lot of different struggles and challenges in all of that. And 2.5 years ago, God actually radically restored a lot of the things that were broken and that were, just things that the enemy really tried to steal and destroy from what God intended for our marriage to be.
Yeah, and I think when you were saying no fear, it was reminding me of how we talked about the No Fear Marriage Podcast, having no fear of becoming part of the statistic, the huge statistic nowadays of divorce.
Yeah.
And I know that I entered this marriage with a lot of fear of divorce because my background is coming from parents who were divorced. And it was a totally different scenario because me and my mom and my 3 younger siblings all survived domestic violence. She survived domestic violence. For us, it was child abuse. And so that was a necessary splitting so that we could be rescued from that scenario, but still saw the consequences and devastating effects of divorce, and the marriage not being, properly, with everything proper, and it takes two people,
And the Lord,
and of course, and then Jesus at the center, right? So, yeah, I think having no fear in your marriage is about not having fear of divorce, and not having fear in some other aspects that I'm sure we're going to get into too.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get into a lot of this more in depth, but I think for me, a lot of the fear was around, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate, but around when we did get married, and I had this expectation of what marriage was supposed to naturally be, and it wasn't that, and so my, immediate thoughts are, maybe this was the wrong marriage. Maybe this was the wrong person. Maybe, you kind of get into those modes, and you really can't operate a lifelong commitment out of the thought that this might have been wrong.
Like constantly having those conversations about are we sure this is what we're supposed to be doing?
Right? Yeah. Are we really going to be able to do this for the next 50 years? And the truth is the answer would have been no, right? The way we were going.
The way we were doing it.
The way we were going, the answer would have been no. But by the grace of God, we can now say that, yes, of course, absolutely, without a doubt. And we're just really grateful to get to have a platform. We were talking earlier today about why we wanted to start this. And I think the reason anyone starts a podcast is because they have something to say. And so I think that's our message. Our message is that, number one, if you find yourself in a place of fear in your marriage, and we will go in depth as to all the different fears that we were facing, different lies we were believing, there's hope. And there's actually a promise that we stand on and that I've stood on for the entirety of our marriage, which God gave me very directly during a time of darkness in our marriage, which is that there's not anything so broken that he can't fix it. And so even in our darkest places, that's what I would remind myself and remember, that he said there's not anything so broken that he can't fix it. And I say that now to everybody listening to this, that there's nothing impossible for God. And I would just encourage now, because of what we've been through, we have that passion and we have that, just desire to protect and defend marriage, and just as an institution, especially in Christian marriages and Christian homes. I just encourage that you don't give up. If you're listening to this and you're plugging in because you're struggling and you're afraid and you don't know what's going to happen, just don't give up, and it's worth it. Marriage is awesome when it's done the way that it's supposed to be. And when, first and foremost, as we've said this entire time, Christ is at the center.
For sure. And I think it was interesting that you mentioned about isolating. Did you say that earlier? No, it was like there was like a whole factor of like isolating when we first got married, that we always share with other people. It's like, don't just isolate yourself. And in general, I think that's good advice.
For sure.
We as humans are designed for a community, and even though, and it's another thing to get into in a future episode, you used to be super introverted style, and I've always been super extroverted, and so that clashed a whole lot. And it really, we talk about stuck cycles and hurt cycles, that really, really cause a lot of issues. And those kind of things have changed over time in different ways, and we can talk about that at some other time. But I think the idea of just isolating is just one of the things that causes a lot of issues, right? Early on.
100%. I definitely think that we found ourselves in that. I don't know if I think in some things we may be intentionally isolated because there was just so much that had gone on right when we got married. But I do think that the enemy used it as a tactic to keep us in a place where we were vulnerable to those fears and those lies. And a lot of this also changed when we did get out and connect with other people, other believers, and
Well, because I was going to say the isolated part was like moving away right when we got married, which was thrilling and exciting to like have our own place, and we're like going out. We went to the beach and like lived out there. I was like, what a cool thing. We got really homesick for like family, so we like ended up moving back.
Super homesick.
But the problem was when we went out there, we didn't make very much intention to get plugged in to community. We didn't really have like a church family. We hardly had any friends. This will show you the difference of like our personality types. Maria had like no friends.
Wait.
Okay.
We lived there for a total of like 10 months.
Okay.
In 10 months, we came back and I still had no friends. Like real friends, like real community or anything like that. I had people that I worked with, but it wasn't like deep or like, like true friends or true community when we came back. Caleb, on the other hand, when we came back, tell them about you.
Oh, I have a friend that I met when I was in. It was it was at Walmart.
Caleb literally went to Walmart and made a friend, and it was just the employee.
The employee of Walmart. He was stalking. He was a nice guy, and somehow we became friends. I think we ran into each other again getting our hair cut at the barber shop down there. And then we like exchanged numbers, and we've been friends like ever since, kind of thing. So even when I came back, we like still touch base here and there. We haven't in a while, but
Caleb's the type of person that like will like make a friend like that, immediately connect with people. And what is it that they say, like you have the person who like just wants to put her headphones on and not talk to anybody, and the person who will make a friend and like get on an airplane by the end of the flight, like is in somebody's wedding that they've never met before, and they marry each other.
Two people marry each other.
That's us.
Yeah,
that's
right?
what I would say.
That's funny. Yeah, it's I don't know why were we talking about that? Oh yeah, isolation. Right. So other than that one friend, there was a lot of isolation, I think, that took place, and that it just wasn't good for us to like not be able to share what was actually going on in our marriage and the different things that we were embarking on as a new couple who, you're the youngest in your family, I'm the oldest, and then the only example up is like I said, the abusive situation, and then obviously there was a divorce there, so it's like I'm trying to figure this stuff out on my own.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean?
I'm naturally an introverted person, so I didn't have a lot of people either at the time that I felt like I could be honest with about a lot of the things we were going through. Some of the things we were going through were really heavy too, like super off the bat heavy, like some of the just like fear that kind of manifested at that time. For you and what that meant for us, and it's like, who do you talk to? You've been married for a year. Who do you talk to about this stuff? And then we did seek out therapy and counsel, and we felt like it helped in a lot of ways, and we highly encourage that. We think it's really important, and not only important, but in some cases, and in most cases, I would say essential to certain seasons of life. But we did have like a counselor that looked at us and asked us how we were even together, and
that happened like twice, didn't it?
I think so.
Two
and so
different.
We're just kind of like,
like that's helpful. Thanks.
That's not very encouraging. What does that mean? What are they seeing in us? And anyways, grateful,
we persevere.
Grateful for them, but not maybe what we would tell anybody now looking back. Like if it was, if we came across a couple that was going through similar things or anything at all, I don't think we would ever have the approach of like, how are you two together, or why are you two together? But we would, I think one of our principles, and we'll go deeper into this, but one of our principles is that like you made this commitment.
That's what I was just thinking.
And so it's not like, that we need to find the perfect person. There's no such thing as the perfect person.
Touché.
You choose the person that you want to be with, and then you stay with that person. You make that commitment to that person. And so whatever everybody has incompatibilities, everyone, Everyone has challenges or struggles or clashes. Whatever that looks like for you, whatever that looks like for us, the point is to stay and to keep working at it, to figure that out until it's figured out, not, walk away. And so, or buy into that lie, that like this just wasn't the right person. Just the way that I think that we're looking at it, considering everything that we've walked through.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. It's just cool to see like the change, because I remember those conversations where you would ask me, because like we would be having these rough conversations about stuff we were going through, and then you would like straight up ask me and be like, do you really think that this is right? Like this is like we made the right choice? That we should keep going? Like how are we going to go, like you said, how are we going to go another 50 years?
Yeah.
And you were like honestly asking me.
Yeah.
And that was like my moment that I needed to like step up leadership wise.
Yeah.
I don't remember if I really did properly, because I was struggling with leadership back then too. But you weren't just playing around. Like that was legit. Like you're asking me.
I was genuinely wondering.
Like
is this how it's supposed to be? I think was at the core of my question.
Right.
Like, is this what marriage is supposed to be? Is this how are we doing this? I don't think I knew to ask that. Are we doing this right? Because I also felt like we were the only ones, because we were so isolated.
Bingo, yeah.
I felt like we were the only ones going through what we were going through, and meanwhile, like, everyone's going through it.
And that's interesting, because you don't even think to say, are we doing this right? The first thought is, this must not
wrong.
be right.
Yeah.
So, like, the only way out is to change the decision.
Almost like the only way through is out. The only way through this is to get out of it.
Right.
And that's not...
But we hadn't even considered, like, what if we're just doing this wrong? Or maybe, did we ever consider that?
I don't remember ever considering that.
We had to have, because we did take marriage counseling and therapy and things like that.
Yeah, but I think that I had this fear or lie misconception that, like, you were who you were and I was who I was. And that was that, and how are these two people going to stay together in this forever?
Did social media or anything play into that?
Absolutely.
Because I would wonder if, like, some of the stuff that maybe you saw on social media, like different people's... Because there's some heavy opinions on social media about some of these things sometimes. People are not going to agree with everything that we say on this podcast.
Which is perfectly fine. And we respect different views.
We just got to share what we've learned and what we believe and what we see in the scripture, Not saying that everything we say is going to be from scripture, and we're going to get some stuff wrong sometimes, but...
Yeah.
What was I saying? Oh, just I would assume that some of that social media stuff might have played into, like, fed into what you were already considering.
Yeah, well, it's just like false expectations, I think, that are set, which is part of what we also want to share here is, like, marriage is really hard and beautiful, and it's not impossibly hard. And it's, but it is, you're going to run into something sometimes that you're going to not know necessarily what to do right away, especially when you're newer to marriage. And it's important not to believe the lie that, like, that's just what it is. This is just who he is, just who I am, and we're just, going to have these same exact challenges forever and probably not going to be able to figure this out because I'm not changing and you're not changing, which is not true. Naturally, as humans, we change anyway.
Right.
Not to mention, like, part of what we're going to get deeper into in our first episode as well is, like, that marriage is meant to sanctify us.
You mean the next episode? This is the first episode.
Yeah, the
next
episode
2.
The first official episode that's not just an intro,
Hey,
I guess.
This is a good episode.
It's a good episode.
It's giving.
It's giving.
Okay, anyways. Hopefully it's giving something. I don't know. Good.
No, it's a sanctification tool. And so we're not going to stay the same, and that's the point, right? We're not going to stay the same because God is using this to refine us. So the point is that if we're submitted to the Lord in this, then it's going to change us in a good way. And I think that the Lord, I don't think I know, I have that conviction that the Lord wants us to be united and wants us to be, we are one, right? According to Scripture. And so what that looks like is not like the movies, and it's not like social media makes it look. It's a little bit messy sometimes, and it can be painful sometimes. And I think that if you stay and you stick with it and you have two people who desire to be honoring to the Lord and to honor one another, then you grow through it. You know, you don't just end up with shambles in the end of a struggle, of a challenge, or of a difficult season.
Sure. The thing that also reminded me of was I wanted to mention that the reason you keep saying lies is because it's like, you know, the Bible says that the devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's to say the devil or it comes to steal, kill, and destroy.
The enemy, yeah.
And so it's like he can't, like we're married, so what is he going to try to do? He's just going to try to get our eyes to fix the other way, get our focus to be on, well, maybe this is just not right.
Yeah.
You know, and try to destroy the thing that's already done, because it's like, it's already done. You know what I mean? Like, we made the covenant, boom, and it's like, okay, now I'm going to try to separate it.
Yeah.
You know? And there's a lot of, I mean, you talk about that with, you know, younger couples that we know that are about to get married. It's like, there's going to be some opposition here to try to prevent this from happening.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the enemy hates everything that God loves. And the enemy has been planting seeds of doubt from the very beginning of time.
Right.
And so I think it's good to be alert, and the Bible does say to be alert of his schemes and how he will find any opportunity to take down something that the Lord has instituted. Especially, again, when we're talking about Christ-following couples who desire to exalt the Lord and that he would be glorified in their marriage. And, you know, it can be tough at times, but it's just so worth it. And so just like the very best. So I just would encourage people in that way.
It's awesome. So, looking at our little notes here of what we made sure we wrote some notes so we make sure we don't forget everything. And
everything is crazy.
Anything.
Forget anything, so we don't forget absolutely everything.
Don't forget everything we know. And so we make sure that we, you know, hit all the things that we wanted to hit. Did we already talk about this part? I think so. Yes. Okay. So we're just on this part now.
Yeah.
Wow, time flies. Wow. Okay. What do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. No.
Just basically that we're going to be talking about so many different things on this podcast, and we were like thinking of what could we, you know, share. And like I said, we've had a chance to, you know, speak with several other couples over the years, friends of ours, peers of ours. We're always, you know, I every time I meet, or a lot of times I meet with the work that I do, I meet a lot of couples out and about that have been married way longer than I have, and I'm like, what's the secret? You know. And usually the husband will say some corny joke about, I just do whatever she says. That's like pretty much 99% of the answer is from him to say that. And then she just says, don't listen to him. That's like always. But then sometimes they give like really insightful answers. And, you know, so we're just thinking through like what kind of things we can share, you know, with anybody who's listening to this podcast or watching this. And one of the things I want to mention is we'd love you to comment any topics that maybe you'd be interested to hear more about from another couple. Make this podcast the opposite of the isolation.
Yeah.
Right? Isolation doesn't have to only be fought by physical community, right? You could also have community here.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we're opening ourselves up to like, hey, let's rub shoulders, let's iron sharpen iron.
Yeah.
And put in the comments what kind of topic you would be interested in hearing about. Like we said, we've mapped a whole bunch of topics, but we would like to kind of tweak and move that flow according to like what would be best helpful.
Yeah.
So put those kind of topics or things that you think of that would be intriguing, or even any thoughts that you have. You know, if you've been married for longer than 8 years, give us your one word of wisdom of like, here's the secret for us. That'd be cool.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
So we're going to be sharing more about just what the Lord has really brought us through. It's really kind of a long form testimony is really what I think this podcast is going to be. Constantly just testifying of what the Lord has brought us through and what has helped us the most, again, in hopes that it will just be a blessing to you, which is why feedback is important too, and hearing about what would be the most helpful, or if you care, to hear our opinions on different things. We're always, like we said before, going to filter it through what's going to be the most honoring to the Lord. But we're happy and excited to be able to bring something that we hope will just help and encourage Christian marriages at the core.
And I also want to say, I realized I said, even if you haven't been married for over 8 years, one of my favorite quotes ever, I want to say Ralph Waldo Emerson, he says, like, every man is my superior in that I can learn from him. Whether that person is old or young, right? Like, awesome. We can learn something from everybody. So, anyway.
Yeah, so just let us know any questions, any funny stories, any, just things that are important to you in marriage. We'd love to hear. And we're excited just to keep sharing what we've walked through and what we have just learned.
And overcome.
Yeah. And just been able to have victory over, and just hope that it is helpful, hope that it's a blessing. And we're also excited, Lord willing, as time goes on, to include other people, to have guests, friends, family, even professionals maybe over time that can come on and share their wisdom and their insight as well. And we're just excited about this. Thank you for being here for this.
For sure. How do we end these things?
I think we just say thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.
We'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
It's probably fine.
That's good. Oh, and also, stay tuned for our next episode. It's coming out later this week. Episode 2, because this has been episode 1 of the No Fear Marriage Podcast.
Woo!
I really hope that audio didn't peak.
Okay, well, I guess we'll all find out together. Bye!
Bye!